A continuación, en Poder 97.1, tu hora informativa. Entrevistas e información para nuestra comunidad. Y ahora con ustedes, Ida Pérez.
Buenos días, mi gente de Rochester, y bienvenido a su hora informativa. Mi nombre es Ida Pérez y para mí es un verdadero placer poder estar con ustedes en esta mañana. Su hora informativa es un programa que les trae información importante que esperamos que los inspire a una mejor calidad de vida para usted y su familia. Cubrimos información sobre los campos de salud, educación, empleo, vivienda y muchos otros temas más que nos afectan como persona y como pueblo. Su hora informativa está aquí todos los sábados de 10 a 11 de la mañana y nos alegramos muchísimo de que estén con nosotros en el día de hoy. Hoy tengo un invitado que nunca lo he conocido, la primera vez que lo conozco, pero estoy muy contenta de tenerlo aquí con nosotros en el día de hoy. Le voy a pedir a él que se presente, que nos diga su nombre, de dónde eres originalmente y cuánto tiempo llevas aquí en Rochester.
Mi nombre es Patricio Rojas Jr. Yo soy de Newark, in Wayne County.
Oh.
And I've been up here. I live in Irondequoit right now, so I've been up here for close to 30 years.
Okay. How did your family get here to the United States? Where are your family originally from?
So my parents are from Caguas
Oh,
in
okay.
San Lorenzo.
Okay.
And they came over here. My dad actually came here when he was a gardener. He worked for Jackson Perkins.
Okay.
Over in Newark, doing the flowers and the roses. Then he took a job at the North Wayne Hospital. And, my mom came over, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
8 kids later.
Yeah. What year was that? Do you know?
My dad came over here in the early 60s.
Okay. Yeah, my parents came in 1952. They came, and my dad came first, but he was smart. He brought my mom 6 months later. He didn't wait. Most men would wait. They would send money back and wait. But he brought her right away.
That's what my dad did.
Yeah.
He was over here for a little bit. Then he sent for my mom.
Yeah. So what made them come here, though? Like, was it work? What
Yeah,
was
I think just like a lot of people, work. They wanted to start, see what they can do over here. Like I said, they came over here. My dad was a gardener. He came over here with my uncles. And, once he started his family here, he stayed.
Yeah. So what made you move to Rochester?
So I moved to Rochester. When I graduated high school, I went into the Air Force.
Okay.
So I was in the Air Force for about 4 years. I was honorable discharged, and then I took a bunch of police tests. And then I was lucky. I got hired by the sheriff's office. So back then, when you got hired by the sheriff's office, you had to move into Monroe County. So we moved into Monroe County.
Okay.
We lived in Fairport for about a year, and then we found a house in Irondequoit, and we stayed there.
Okay. Cool. What made you go into this field?
I come from a family of police. So my 3 uncles were policemen.
Oh, okay.
In Puerto Rico.
Okay.
My brother was a policeman in Puerto Rico. And then my father-in-law is a policeman.
Wow.
So it runs into our family.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is what you need to be doing,
Yes.
type of thing.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a Latino commissioner? Like, how does that, commander, how does that feel for you? Like, what does that mean to you and being Latino?
I will tell you this. When I first started in the sheriff's office, there was not a lot of Latinos.
Right.
Working on the road, especially on the road patrol. The sheriff's office is huge. There's over 1,100 employees. And at that time when I came here, there wasn't a lot of Latinos who were on the road patrol.
Yeah.
So I felt very fortunate to be there. And as I continued in my career, I've been very fortunate, and I take it with a lot of pride that you can come into an organization such as the sheriff's office, and they don't see you as Hispanic, they don't see you as black, they don't see you as white. They just see you. and and they allow you to progress. And there's so much opportunity in the sheriff's office. I took full advantage of that, and I was rewarded for doing hard work. And the sheriff's office is a place where it doesn't matter where you came from. As long as you work hard, you can succeed.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever dream that this is where you would be? Like,
When I first started here, believe me, I never thought I would reach the rank of commander. My thought process when I first got hired was, you know what, I'm going to be a policeman for 20 years, and then I'm going to retire. And then, as I stayed here a little longer, it was funny because I told my wife at the time, if I'm still 50 years old and I'm chasing bad guys, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to retire because I don't want to chase bad guys at 50 years old. I just don't want to do that. And at that time, I was like, in my mid 40s, and I had taken a promotional test, and I scored well, and they promoted me to sergeant, and I was the first Latino sergeant on the road patrol.
Wow.
So I was very, professionally, I was very grateful, and I achieved the goal. And then I told my wife, you know what, as a sergeant, I can stay here maybe past 50,
Yeah.
And then, then I was very fortunate that the sheriff, when he came into office, he promoted me to lieutenant. And then I told my wife, I could definitely stay here and after 50 years old as a lieutenant. And then, again, I was very fortunate, and they promoted me to captain. And, each step, I was the first Latino to do that.
Wow, nice.
So I was the first Latino lieutenant. I became the first Latino captain. And then in May, the sheriff asked me to become his commander, and I became the first Latino commander. So then I actually told my wife, I can stay around a little longer. And she started laughing. She goes, okay.
Yeah. So. How does that feel to have the legacy of being the first in all of those different positions, as a Latino? Like,
it's an amazing feeling. I feel proud. I hope that I've opened the doors for other Latinos when they come into the sheriff's office, and they can see that, this is achievable. I can do this. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, cool. I love it. I love the fact that you're leaving that type of legacy for us here, for the Latino community here in Rochester. We don't often hear about these great things, right, that are happening with Latinos. And, this is like a time where I feel like really proud of who I am. I mean, I've always been. But, we have so many people, key people in important positions that are Latinos now, that's really demonstrating, our capabilities and our skills and our love for community, right? Because we do come from a country that is very, their foundation is love of community. Like everybody in Puerto Rico loves their neighbor, and you help each other out. And we've seen this like over and over again with all the hurricanes and things that have happened. They lift themselves up, right? And so it's really cool to know that we have someone like that in the sheriff department. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, I thought I would start with a little, explain what my role is in the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
So as the commander in the sheriff's office, I'm in charge of our staff services bureau.
Okay.
So, and what that encompasses is that underneath me that I manage is our recruitment office, our training office, our backgrounds, our accreditation, our standards and compliance office, our records office, our property and evidence, our fleet, and our quartermaster.
That's a lot.
Yes, and our wellness program as well.
Yeah.
So, I find it a rewarding challenge to manage that for the sheriff, and I'm very happy to do so. So that's my role as the commander there, and that's what staff services does for the sheriff's office.
Yeah. Now you talked about recruitment. Is this is a time now that you guys are recruiting? Like, are you always recruiting? Is there a period for it? Like, how does that work?
We are always, always recruiting.
Yeah.
Recruiting is huge for us, especially it's big for the sheriff. The sheriff, his goal is to make our agency as diverse as possible. So we focus a lot on, getting out there to the colleges. We go out there to the job fairs, and we focus a lot within the city of Rochester because, a lot of Hispanics, Latinos, and they live in the city of Rochester.
Our population is growing every day.
Yes, and we want to get the word out to them. That the sheriff's office is a very rewarding place to work, has great benefits, and the money is it's fantastic. Especially if you're just starting off. Yeah, this is the place you want to come.
Yeah. What would you say to a young person? Let's say you're recruiting in a college and someone comes up to you and say, hey, I'm interested in this. What would you say to really sell this to them?
I would say if you look at the job market right now, where else can you start off with a salary close to $60,000 a year? That's starting off. That has great benefits, medical, dental, and has a retirement system. That you do 20 years as a road patrol deputy, you can retire. You do 25 years inside our jail as a jail deputy, and you could retire. You know what I mean? The benefits itself, but the family-oriented feeling you get working with the sheriff's office. We look at ourselves as one huge extended family. And if you like that feeling of brotherhood, sisterhood, and working for a purpose, come join our team because that's what our team is. We try to recruit the, people with high values, high morale, whose ethics are great. That's what we want working in the sheriff's office, and that's why we focus on these job fairs. And we tell guys, hey, are you looking for a new beginning? Are you looking for a chance to prove yourself? Come work for the sheriff's office,
What are the main qualifications? Like, what is the age range? What, do they need to have any kind of educational background other than a high school diploma? Like, what is the requirement to go into the field?
Well, this is perfect time because right now we're recruiting for a jail. And all you need to do to qualify for the jail is be 18 years old and have a high school diploma or the equivalent, a GED.
Right.
And, and then you can take our T&E survey, basically what it is. And what it is, it's your training and experience. So, and that's coming up this May. So we're actively looking for people to take that. And once you take that training and experience survey, the state will grade it. You'll come in for an agility test. You pass that, then you go through the process for us. And then, it takes about, once you take that T&E, it takes up to 6 months or so for us to, if everything goes right, for you to start working for us.
What's T&E?
A training and experience survey. So for working in the jail, you had to take a civil service exam. The state changed that a few years ago as a trial period, and they went to a training and experience survey.
And what does that entail?
Any training, any experience that you have in law enforcement or anywhere, you get points for everything that you have accomplished, and then they score it and they grade it.
So it could be even like life experience, like you were a volunteer for a community something.
Yep.
They'll take that into consideration. Maybe you led a group of youth somewhere or something. They'll take that into consideration. Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think that's better than the test, right? Because the test is the test, but it really doesn't tell you much about your human side of you or how you interact with people. Your social emotional intelligence and all those things that play a big part in doing this type of work, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. So what else? What else are we doing with with recruitment and making sure, because May is right around the corner.
Yes.
And
So our big push right now is to try to go into some of these high schools and speak to some of these athletes and go to some of these events and let them see. We're always at the Rochester Public Market, when they offer it. We try to hit all these job fairs, and like I said, any community event, if we're able to go, we're going to try to go.
Yeah.
So.
And this is the time, because we might have a lot of, students that are soon going to graduate and still don't know what they want to do.
And sometimes college isn't the place
and colleges,
for them.
College is not for everybody.
No, it's not.
It definitely is not for everyone.
And it's not. And this gives them the opportunity, hey, maybe, college isn't for me, but maybe this is something I can do. Maybe this is something I can piggyback off. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So tell us more about your department, because I know you talked about recruitment and training. What does training look like?
So
is it like a boot camp, or what is it?
So no, that's a good question. So we do run, especially for our jail side of things, we run our own academies here in Rochester at the Public Training Safety Center there. And we run our own academies. We help out with the police academies as well. We have many instructors. They go to a school through the state and become instructors. And we do training year-round, believe it or not. Our department takes training very seriously. The sheriff emphasizes that. And so we're training all year around. Firearms, defensive tactics, physical training, you name it, and we're training it. So.
And I'm assuming that the training is ongoing, right? Like there's always some type of...
Deputies go to the training every year.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah. And I'm also assuming that some of this training is, interpersonal relationships and, communication, all those things that are needed.
We have actually 2 huge training periods during the year for our deputies that are working for us right now. They're called in-service trainings. And every year it's something different.
Yeah. Now, you talked about, like, when you first started, there wasn't a lot of diversity and probably not a lot of Latinos within the sheriff department. What does that look like today?
The Sheriff Baxter's make huge strides in getting that word out there, that he wants this department to become more diverse. This department has become more diverse since I've started here and since Sheriff Baxter's taken over as well.
Yeah. It's funny because I worked with Sheriff Baxter in the past in our community, and, he's always shown great interest, to the Latino community and helping us when we found ourselves in certain situations. So it's really cool to know that, right, that he values that and that he's working towards that.
Yes.
So, again, any student out there that hasn't decided what they want to do, or any college student, that may still be navigating, okay, what field do I want to do? Definitely something to consider.
Yes.
Right?
And you can find us on Facebook. We have a recruitment page, Monroe County Sheriff's Office recruitment. And the sheriff has his own Facebook page on there as well. And you can get a lot of information right off that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Rochester Investigative Operations Center. What is that?
All right, so you're talking about our REOC. Okay, that's the Regional Investigative Operations Center. So what that is, it's modeled after a real-time crime center. We'll have the focus is for addressing emerging crime patterns. We have multiple jurisdictions in there. We manage large-scale investigations and locate missing individuals, abducted individuals, it allows and to respond to any type of terrorist threat out there. It allows us to do things in real time, quickly. So if we see something, we can bring it to the REAC. The REAC will see it, and it gives us, you know, a tool to use to support the community.
So, you know, do people that work in that center have to have specialized training for certain things? Like, how does that work?
Yes. So over at the REAC, it's manned by investigators, deputies, command staff personnel. You know, this is something that's going to be ongoing as soon as it's up and running. So.
So anyone that's in the sheriff department now that would like to move maybe into that part of the department, you know, how does that happen?
Well, like I said, that it's comprised of investigators, deputies, police officers from just not from the sheriff's office, but from all over, because it's a regional center. But you know, that's something that we take care of internally. So if an investigator wanted to work over there or a deputy wanted to work over there, that it's something that our chief deputy and the sheriff will select.
Explain to me a little more about real time, because you said, you know, we'll do this in real time. What does that really mean?
Well, let's say somebody goes missing, all right, or gets abducted. That center will be able to, once it's fully operational, go and start investigating that as soon as it happens, instead of waiting to see, you know, what do they have over here? What do they got over here? It's all put together at that center, and it's real time. We can get information out to everybody. We can access cameras. We'll be able to do plate readers, do everything at that moment, so we can resolve that issue as fast as we can.
So you have all the key people that you need
Yes.
to for a crime like that. You have all the key people in one place.
In one place.
Communicating all at the same time, and then disseminating and boom, going out and doing the work.
Yes.
Where before you probably have to ask here first, and
Yeah.
ask there first, and ask there first.
Here,
It's
everybody's
like the
there.
operating room, right?
Yes.
Or everything is ready in the operating room for this operation.
Yes.
Pretty much that's the way that works.
Yep.
Cool. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So tell us a little bit about the Rochester Threat Advisory Committee.
Yes. So ROCTAC. That is the sheriff came up with this concept. He put it out there, and so what that is, it brings in together a bunch of different agencies and a bunch of different resources in one place, so we can mitigate a threat. So if there's someone out there that is a concern to the community as a whole, we can bring in a bunch of different agencies, a bunch of different resources, and we can come up with a plan and how to mitigate that threat. And it's been very successful, you know, and so successful that other agencies from around the country have asked, you know, the sheriff hey, can you come and speak to us about this? He's actually gone to Washington, D.C. and spoke about this as well, because, you know, this is something that works, and it's been very successful for us.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Monroe County Sheriff Department and immigration. Like, how are you guys handling that?
Well-
Because I know that's something that really concerns our community. You know, Ibero itself has helped a lot of the asylums to settle here. And so, you know, it's a constant threat for us, and it's a constant scare for us because we never know, right, who's going to come knocking at our door. So how are you guys handling that?
So the sheriff in the sheriff's office, our practice remains unchanged. This is how we've always done our conducted business out there. We follow the law and the Constitution. That's what the sheriff's office does. We will cooperate with our federal law enforcement partners. You know, MCSO, the sheriff's office, does not stop or inquire based solely upon immigration status. So we're not going to stop somebody and ask them, hey, what's your status? Are you supposed to be here or not?
Right,
no,
right,
we're not.
right.
We
Where
don't
you
do
from?
That. Yeah.
Where you from?
We don't do that. And victims and witnesses of crimes must, the sheriff feel strongly about that. They must feel safe reporting offenses without fear.
Right.
So deputies, if you call us for something, we're not going to ask you what your immigration status is. No, because you're looking for help, and we're
Right.
here to help you.
Right.
But with that being said, if there's federal court arrest warrants out there for criminal charges,
Yeah.
we're going to take
That's
some.
to me, that's a different story.
That's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
We're going to assist the federal agencies with that.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And we will detain an individual based on that, based on a criminal, warrant out there. But we don't have the ability under New York state law to detain an individual solely on a civil immigration violation, and we won't do that. So, we're not.
So people can't be afraid if they see the
Yes.
sheriff pulling up.
They shouldn't, unless they're doing something wrong.
Right. Unless you're committing a crime,
unless
which
you're-
is, again, a different
That's
story.
that's a whole different ballgame. So if you're committing a crime, you should be worried, but not just because of us, but any police agency you
right.
should be worried about.
Right.
But if you're just walking down the street or you're calling us, hey, I need some help or something, you don't have to worry about, especially the sheriff's office deputies, asking you, okay, I'm going to help you, but are you supposed to be here? No, we would never do that. And we're never going to ask you that. So, feel free to call us. If you see something or you've been victimized, yes, please call us.
Yeah.
Because you should not have to worry about your immigration status when you need help.
Yeah. And I think that's important for our community to know because,
Yes.
there's just so many people that are in fear.
Yeah,
And people that have been here forever, right? That
Yes.
have a status. They have a citizen status,
Yeah.
but they just don't know just because of the way they look or the way they talk, that they're going to be asked, hey, where are you from? Where did you come from? And
No, we will never
are you
do
supposed to be here type of thing? Yeah. It could be scary. I kind of want to shift a little bit, because we've had, unfortunately, right, we've had some incidents where law enforcement, have been involved in some things, and we just recently had, those correctional officers, that whole incident that happened, and people lose trust, right? They lose trust in law enforcement. They don't. They have a bad view of it. We had the whole, Black Lives Matters, and all of those things are important, right? And it's not to say that those things have not happened. I've been very fortunate where I've had experiences with both, right? I've had some bad experiences where, you call the police to help you, and then you become, the target instead of the person that did something to you. I've had some aftermath with the Puerto Rican festival that hasn't been very pleasant with the police, although that's gotten much, much, much better. But I've also have had, law enforcement help us. Like I said, the sheriff department as well as the police department with things that have happened, especially because I live right off of North Clinton Avenue. So, we've had some real issues there, right? It's one of the busiest and probably, one of the highest in crime and different things within our city of Rochester. But I've also had, the support of the police department, the support of the sheriff department. When it's come to certain things, we've had some really strategic initiatives that we've tried, and they've been a support of that. So I've kind of seen both sides, right? What is your opinion on that, and what can you say about that? Because we need law enforcement. We can't get rid of law enforcement, right? I mean, I felt a little bit, the aftermath of people wanting to retire because of these things, retiring maybe a little earlier than they should, or people not wanting to go into the police department or the sheriff department or law enforcement in general because of the stigma. and I felt that because I can see, the ones that are there now are stretched. Sometimes they cover way too large of an area that's almost impossible, right? And I don't want that. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for my community. So, what is your take on that, if anything?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I will tell you this. It's been very difficult for us to get people to come into our profession because of some stigma out there and, their perceptions, right? So with that being said, I can only say this. I know within the sheriff's office, we hold everyone to a high standard, and we have great character, and we have great morals. And our work ethic is second to none. And the guys I work with, the women I work with, we do what's right, and that's all we can do, right? We can try to do our best every day.
Yeah.
I know that my staff does every day. I know that people I work with do that every day. But, all we can do is go out there, do our jobs, and hopefully their perception of law enforcement changes.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping to do. Have things happen throughout the country? Absolutely, things have happened. But, you can't group us all together like that.
Right,
You know what I mean? And, I know from here, Monroe County as a whole, the police department, all the police departments and the sheriff's office, we have really high, moral and very high standards here. And, I'm not going to say it's easy. This is a tough job, but it's a rewarding job as well. And, 99.9% of the guys out there and the women out there wearing this uniform, they're there to do the right thing, and they're there to help people. When people are at their worst and people are, need, someone, we're there.
Yeah, yeah. I remember Cody Brown was a police officer within our section, and then he moved into the sheriff department. I was really upset when he did that because he worked very, very closely with the with our community and really helped us with a lot of stuff. And so we see that often. I see officers start as police officers, and then they moved into the sheriff department. Why is that?
Because the sheriff's office is the greatest place to work.
It's the greatest place to work with. I knew you were going to say that.
It's the greatest place to work for. I would tell you this. I've been here for 30 years. I've been with the sheriff's office 30 years. And I started with Sheriff Maloney, Sheriff O'Flynn, and now I'm with Sheriff Baxter.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Baxter is by far the most progressive sheriff we've ever had here. And he wants the best for all of us out here. Yeah. And it's been really fun to work, and it's been a great time for me professionally to be working now.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's an approachable department, right? That you can really go to them and bring your concerns and things of that nature. Like I said, we've done a lot on Clinton Avenue, and we still got a lot more work to do, but we couldn't have done, we wouldn't have gone as far as we've had so far had not been for the support, of the sheriff's department as well as the police department. So again, it's one of those things that it's needed, right, in our community, and that we need to be able to approach you guys and say, hey, these are the issues that we have. And I feel like with Baxter, we've always had that support, that he'll listen, he really listens, and he'll try his best to help us out. And we've had many things that we've done where we've worked cooperatively with the department. So that's cool.
I can remember as a kid coming up here.
Yeah.
Because my cousins lived right off North Glen, and by St. Michael's Church, actually.
Yeah.
And so I remember coming up here as a kid, and as a kid, I used to come up here and go, "Oh my gosh, this is the big city, Rochester." Because I grew up in a farm, little farm town in Newark, and so coming up here, it was a big deal for us. And then, and I remember going to Rivero's groceries.
Yes.
And
on Bay Street.
Yes, and getting all the Spanish food.
Food there.
Yep, and then bringing it back. So it was a special trip when I was a kid to come here. Now that I live up here, it's funny because I see it totally different now. Totally different.
Yeah. But it still has its great things about it. You still can find Latino food. I feel like Clinton has a little bit of everything, and a little bit of a huge diversity, of people and culture, and it's rich in that way. We just gotta, clean up a few areas, and we'll be better. But my parents, their second home here, they bought on Scranton Street, and I ended up inheriting my parents' house. So that's where I live now, and I'm the chair of the Scranton Street Block Club. And so I've been very involved in that community, and it's a street over from St. Michael's. And, and Ibero has also have seen this section as, their campus, because they even moved from East Main Street to Evergreen, because they felt that, most of our agencies are on Clifford, between Clifford, between here, Conkey and Hudson Avenue. And so they felt that they needed to be in the heart of where their staff was, and so that really helped St. Michael's, because it kind of stabilized St. Michael's. At one point, they thought they were going to close it. And by them moving their administrative office there, help that campus there. But, it's one of those things that they continue to invest. Ibero continues to invest in this community. They really believe in this community, which I think is really cool. And I appreciate that from them. So what else do you want to talk to us about? What else can you tell us?
Well, like I said, we're pushing right now to get, jail deputies right now. So if you're interested in joining our department, please reach out to us. And like I said, not too many places will offer you a salary of close to $60,000, right off the bat, with great benefits in a retirement. So we're pushing that, because our next jail training experience, our T&E, is going to be in May. So, please sign up through civil service. And, this is, like I said, you asked and I answered why people come into the sheriff's office, because it's the best place to work.
So, Patricia, I want to translate a little bit of what we've talked about so far for our Spanish-speaking audience. Tengo aquí conmigo a Patricio Rojas, que es el primer comandante latino en el departamento del Sheriff Department de aquí del condado de Monroe. Ahora mismo están reclutando, ¿verdad?, cualquier candidato que quisiera ser parte del departamento del sheriff. La persona tiene que tener por lo menos 18 años y un diploma de cuarto año o un equivalente de cuarto año para poder aplicar. Sí hay una serie de entrenamientos que tendrían que tomar, pero él dice que es uno de los mejores departamentos en el cual se puede trabajar. Él dice que también empiezan a $60,000 al año, empezando. So, imagínate, solamente puedes subir de ahí para arriba, ¿verdad? Y que tienen uno de los mejores beneficios médicos y demás de retiro y todo eso. Uno puede trabajar 20 años y se puede retirar todavía a temprana edad, lo cual todos están buscando eso, ¿verdad, Patricio? Retirarnos a temprana edad, que no estemos tan enfermos que no podemos hacer nada. So, toda persona que esté interesado, ellos ahora mismo están reclutando. Ahora para mayo empiezan, ¿verdad?, el nuevo equipo para ir entrenando a todas esas personas que estén interesados. So, hombres y mujeres que estén interesados en trabajar para el departamento del sheriff de aquí del condado de Monroe. ¿Cómo se pueden comunicar contigo? How can people contact you guys? Like, is there a number? Is there an email? Is there something on social media that they can get a hold of you guys if anyone's interested? Or maybe if someone has more questions that they want to ask before they make a decision, how can they talk to someone about making this their career?
Yeah, so you can go to our Facebook page.
Okay.
We actually have 2 Facebook pages.
Okay.
We have one for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and then we have one for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office recruitment.
Oh, okay.
So with that, you can find a lot. We're on Instagram as well, and you can go to X. And we're on there as well, and you can also go to our website, MonroeCountySheriff'sOffice.com.
Okay. So hay muchas maneras de poder comunicarse con ellos. Lo pueden hacer a través de Facebook. Tienen uno para el Sheriff Department del Condado de Monroe, pero también tienen uno que específicamente para reclutar a candidatos que estén interesados. Pueden ir a X, también están en Instagram, y también pueden ir a su página de web online, ¿verdad? Y poder buscar su información ahí. So, cualquier persona que esté interesado, quizás tengan más preguntas o quieren saber un poquito más, ¿verdad?, de las oportunidades de carreras que hay, podrían hacerlo. El comandante Rojas nos dijo que él fue uno de los primeros sargentos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Sargento, capitán, lieutenant,
commander.
Y ahora comandante. So, definitivamente hay la oportunidad y él ha sido el primero en todas esas posiciones. So, imagínate, he dejado un legado bastante grande, ¿verdad? Un legado que nos debemos de sentir muy orgullosos, que él ha sido el primer latino en todas esas posiciones. So, definitivamente hay oportunidad para personas que estén interesados en esta carrera de poder subir, ¿verdad? Y llegar a donde lo lleve la carrera, ¿verdad? En lo que estén interesados. Él dice lo que hay que trabajar fuerte, trabajar con integridad y responsabilidad. Eso es lo que ellos buscan, ¿verdad? Personas que, él dice, ahí no vemos color, ahí no vemos si eres latino, si eres afroamericano, si eres blanco, si eres esto, si eres el otro, sino que sean personas con integridad, que respeten, que hagan las cosas bien, y que tengan un amor, ¿verdad? Y una pasión para la comunidad y para servir la comunidad. Esas son las características que ellos buscan en sus candidatos. Eso no importa, ¿verdad? No importa de dónde tú vienes, siempre y cuando que estés dispuesto a trabajar fuerte. Right?
Sí.
Sí.
So, like I said, MonroeCountySheriff-NewYork.gov. Please go see their website. And it has all the information you're going to need.
Can you tell us what has been one of your... I want to ask a double question. What has been your most challenging task being in the sheriff department, and probably what's been your most rewarding one?
Well, I would say that the most rewarding part doing this job is reaching out to the youths. You know, I've been given that opportunity. I taught at the schools. You know, I was a dare instructor for a couple years. You know, I try to hit all the events. I just went to read a book over over at school. I forget what the name of the school. School number 33.
33, yeah.
Yeah, and it was great because there was they pumped me in you know, a second grade class, and then they brought in another second grade class, and they're all bilingual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so some of the kids were bilingual, some of the kids only spoke Spanish, and it was a great experience, you know, because I never went to a city school, but this has given me the opportunity to do that. I sat down, I read a book with the kids, and they asked me a bunch of questions afterwards. But it's interesting, and that's what I like doing. That's rewarding to me, is being able to connect with our youths, being able to attend some of these events, and hopefully make a difference in the way their perception of law enforcement is, right? And how they see a policeman. Because, you know, through the ages, that has changed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go out there and, I like doing that. That's been very rewarding to me. One of the most difficult parts about this job is, it goes back to what I just said about being rewarding is the perception people have of law enforcement now. It's difficult, you know what I mean? Because they see things happening around the country and they perceive it that we're all like that. But it's not true. It's not even close to being true. Like I said, 99.9% of law enforcement are out there for one reason. It's to help and to serve their communities. So changing that perception so people realize that's been hard for us, but we continue to do it.
Yeah. If someone, is interested in becoming part of the sheriff department and, are worried about their safety, are worried about what they may encounter. I mean, you've been there for 30 years. That's a long career, right? Doing the same thing every day, stepping into, the possibility of something happening, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to run into or who you're going to run into. What can you say about that? Like, what kind of advice would you give people when it comes to that? I mean, we don't hear. I mean, we've had our tragedies here in Rochester where an officer or a sheriff or somebody, has been killed, but it's not as often as we think. What can you say about that to kind of ease people's mind?
Well, I will tell you this. And I've been to a lot of places throughout the country. And I will definitely say that the law enforcement training that we receive here in our academies is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the country. We do great training here to prepare our deputies, our law enforcement officers that go out there for the unknown. We prepare them for that. And you're not going to get trained any better than you do here. All right? And all I can say is for people who have doubts in it, we will do whatever we can do to have you succeed, to make you succeed. You know what I mean? So you will be provided with the best training that you've ever had.
Yeah. And you have an army, right, behind you, supporting you and helping to protect you.
Yes.
Usually there's two at all times. So
yes, you're not that. No one's by themselves out here.
Yeah.
No one's ever by themselves.
Yeah. Because I think, I think about, my grandson or my granddaughter, if they were to go into the field, I think that would be the thing that would worry me the most, right? What they're going to encounter once they walked out that door. But I also have to put the faith in God that they're going to be protected and that, that nothing's going to happen to them. Because I'm sure that's, probably heavy on some people's mind as well. Yeah. Anything else that you would like to share with us?
I thank you for the opportunity to come here and, and speak to you about the sheriff's office.
Yeah. And I'm so glad because we don't get it often. But, to be able to share this information with the community so that the community know what you guys are doing, how are you recruiting, what are the qualifications, in the event that anyone is listening and is interested, or if you're listening and you have a grandson or a grandchild or a child that, you want them to kind of, get into some type of career, this is definitely one that they should probably consider. And so we thank you, for being with us here today. I like to end the show by asking if there's a phrase or a saying that you grew up with that still resonates with you today. And do you have one?
So my mom, rest in peace. She passed a couple of years ago. But there's 8 of us. There was 8 kids in my family. And regardless of what we were doing or wherever we went, when we left the house, she would always say to us, Mira, con cuidado. Be careful.
Be careful.
when you
Yeah.
guys are out there, because
Yeah.
we are who we are. So.
Yeah, yeah. And that's all moms, I think, like they're, ten cuidado por ahí. Ten cuidado con quien te junta. And so, yeah, great. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. Again, any other developments that happen within your department and you want to come back and share with us, we'll be glad to have you. Again, I hope that people that are listening and especially, I'm saying young people, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. What's the age limit?
That's perfect.
Like, because we have an age to start with, but what's the age limit?
I tell you what, in the jail, there is no age limit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can come in and at 18, if you're 30, if you're 40, if you're 50 and you want to look for something else to do,
Nice.
There's no age limit there. Unfortunately, for the road side of things, because on the police side, there is an age limit. 34
is the age limit.
Yeah, is the age limit there.
Oh, nice. But if somebody's looking to do something different,
Absolutely.
This is the opportunity.
This is the opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Commander, for being with us here today. We really appreciate. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos en esta mañana. Lo esperamos nuevamente el próximo sábado de 10 a 11 de la mañana en Poder 97.1 FM, la única estación radial latina con dueños y operados por Latino, por la comunidad, para la comunidad. Esto ha sido su hora informativa, trayendo la información importante que nos inspira a una mejor calidad de vida. Que pasen una linda semana. Hasta la próxima, mi gente.